are you doing today? How is everyone? Today is day 8 of the Karen Reed trial. Jen McCabe is still being cross-examined. I was watching the beginning of it earlier, and I'm pretty caught up with it. I was going to see if I was going to watch some of it with you guys, but I didn't think they were going to come back early from the lunch break. Are they early from the lunch break, or am I just tripping? I feel like they're early. All right, guys. Well, I think what we're going to do is when they take their afternoon lunch break, we'll go back, rewind, and watch some of the fiery moments in cross-examination so far. But I think today, day 3, has been the best part of the cross-examination of Jen McCabe by Mr. Jackson. There were some parts where I thought it was going to get a little bit more fiery, and it didn't. But there were other questions that he asked that I thought were really, really good. So anyways, guys, hello. How are you doing today? Oh, did I actually pause this?
Good afternoon, Mrs. McCabe.
Oh, that was the end of the cross-examination. Oh, no wonder it was so loud and crazy. Okay, now we're back in direct examination. Let's see. Wait, should I go? Nah, we'll listen to the direct examination. Okay, let's do that. We'll listen to the direct examination. When they take their afternoon break, we'll go back and watch the fiery parts of cross-examination. Because like I said, I think day 3/day 8 of her cross-examination has been the best so far. Hi, Shaniqua. Hi, Angie. How are you doing today? Hello, hello. I know. I thought we were going to continue more cross-examination. I didn't know he was done. And then I hear Mr. Brennan's voice. I'm like, oh, wait, actually, should we just go back and watch cross-examination? Oh, gosh. All right. I am going to be doing my makeup as we're listening to this. So, yeah, we're going to have fun here and just chill. Hold on, let me make sure I get my notes out. Karen Reed. Where are my Karen Reed notes? Karen Reed. Oh, here it is. Okay, Karen Reed notes. Oh, also we got some updates with Coburger stuff, updates with Donna Adelson stuff, and I'm trying to dig into the Corey Richin stuff right now too. So lots of stuff happening. Just needed to catch up on everything. How is everyone though? How are you? Hope you guys are doing well. Jen McCabe is still on the stand, still testifying. At this point, the jury has to be like, there has to be something really important about this witness. I mean, why is the defense going so hard on her? Why has the defense been cross-examining her for almost 3 days? What do you think the jury's thinking? Hey, Sarah, how are you doing today? Hello, hello. You missed a Wednesday. I saw that your electricity went out. It didn't come out. It didn't come back until Thursday at 4:30 a.m. Oh my goodness. Crazy storm. You watched the whole thing, but this is the best. But I wish I watched it, but I wanted to watch it with you guys and get your guys' reaction. I guess we'll just rewind it back during their afternoon break. Boo.
Good afternoon.
I want you to briefly tell us.
Oh, your surgery went well. Yay! I'm glad to hear. Oh yeah, that's right. You're doing the ACL surgery. I need the stream. I'm getting bored watching gameplays. What gameplays are you playing, or what are you watching?
Your memory of the weather when you first arrived at Fairview, when you left at Fairview, and when you returned the next morning a little after 6 a.m.
The weather?
Okay. When I arrived at Fairview on the early hours of the 29th, the snow was falling, just starting to fall, starting to stick to the street and onto the windshields. When I left Fairview, it had, accumulated more where my husband had to wipe the windows. And then the following morning, when we were driving there, it was dark and the snow was like coming at the car. Like, it was very hard to see.
When you returned the next morning, we've seen video from the dash cam. The elements, the visibility, is that fairly depicted in that dash cam?
Yes. Obviously it was lit more because of the lighting and the spotlights, etc.
From the moment that you first saw John until you went into your sister's home, is it fair to say a number of different first responders arrived?
Hey, Moon Dog.
When the first responders arrived, did you see a number of different...
I'm doing well. Oh, whoever had surgery, I'm glad you're doing well. Yes, we have Shaniqua from YouTube chat who just had ACL surgery, I think like yesterday or 2 days ago. Woo! And then Moondog says, hi, YouTube chat.
Vehicles arrive?
I did, yes.
Did any of them have their sirens on?
Not that I recall.
Ambulance, fire truck, police cars, do you remember ever any siren on at all?
Not that I recall, no.
And your sister and brother-in-law, you described how you went in the house and woke them up. They never came out before you woke them up?
No, they didn't.
There was a house right next to where you found John before 34. Do you know what address that is?
I would assume it's 32.
Did you ever see anybody come out of 32 Fairview and come over to John in the scene to help out?
No.
Across the street, there's a house that's in between 32 and 34 if you cross the street.
Yes.
Did you ever see anybody come out of that house and offer assistance to help?
No.
There's a house right across the street from 34 Fairview, isn't there?
Yes.
And did anybody ever come out of that house and come over to assist?
No.
When you were trying to help John that moment, have you ever been...
Okay, that's a pretty decent line of questioning. He's trying to say that, like, oh, it's not only 34 Fairview people didn't come out, it's all the other people in the neighborhood that didn't come out as well because they didn't hear anything. I don't know, y'all. If it's 6 a.m. and you heard a commotion, would you come out? I'd be like, I'm going to sleep.
trained in emergency aid?
Probably 25, 30 years ago.
Your state of mind. Best describe how you were feeling at that moment as far as your focus and what was going through your mind.
I was shocked, confused, nervous, scared, anxious. My friend was lying there on the ground. I had no idea what happened. All I wanted to do was to get help for John, and as fast as I could.
Hey, lady, how are you doing today? If I were already awake, yeah, if you were already awake, you'd be out going outside, you know, trying to vacuum the yard or something like that. Trying to see what's going on. Yes, Angie, this is live right now.
You saw her on the dash cam. You spoke to a number of different people in law enforcement.
Yes.
In fact, during that day, a number of different people from law enforcement, did they call you?
Objection. I'll allow that. Move along to Mr. Bradley.
Did a number of people call you from law enforcement that day?
On the day of the 29th,
Yes.
Michael Proctor called me.
Okay. Did you speak to law enforcement after that day?
Yes.
Were you asked to engage in interviews?
Yes.
Were you asked to testify in front of grand juries?
Yes.
Were you asked to come to court and testify?
Yes.
Did you ever, once, refuse to speak to the police?
No.
Did you ever once refuse to testify?
No.
When you were speaking to the police on that dash cam, it's depicted on the dash cam, why were you speaking to the police?
Well, each officer that arrived had a set of questions of,
Man, I so badly want to know what the jury's thinking. Because they must be so confused. Like, oh, I thought this is John's friend. I thought this is someone who helped Karen. Why are they going so hard on her in cross-examination? Why is she still on the stand? Oh, especially if you don't know anything. For us, this is entertaining because like we're trying to get as much information from her. But if you're the jury, you're probably just like, wait, why is she still here? What's going on here?
of who it was, what
Hands up.
happened, etc. So I was answering all the questions because my main focus was John.
Did you ever try to be evasive with the police?
No, I told them everything I knew.
Did you ever try to avoid speaking to them?
Objection. The form.
Are you guys familiar with the Anna Walsh case? Anna Walsh? Her husband's accused of murdering her. I think his trial is scheduled for what, the end of this year? If I remember correctly, isn't Proctor also lead investigator in that case? Do you guys know anything about that? I feel like I remember someone saying that in the chat here. I was like group chat. I could have sworn someone said Proctor was also on the Anna Walsh case. Be kind of interesting to see him testify in that one. And the fodder that the defense attorney can use against him.
Did you ever hold anything back from the police when you spoke to them?
I'll allow that, and then let's move on, Mr. Bradley, please.
No, I didn't.
When you interviewed with many different law enforcement and people involved in this case, were you ever given an opportunity to review somebody else's report after it was written and provide edits or your input?
Objection. I'll allow it.
No.
When you testified, are you testifying from what somebody wrote? They interpreted what you said months or years ago, or are you testifying from your own memory?
Objection. I'll allow it.
I'm testifying from my own memory.
You called 911?
Yes.
And that morning when you called 911, well, let me ask you, do you wear an Apple Watch?
I do have one, yes.
When you were speaking to 911 that morning and during that event, how did you feel?
Extremely nervous, anxious, scared, uncertain,
Do you think
panicked.
Do you think your
I have an Apple Watch that I didn't use, but after watching these trials, I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe I should start wearing an Apple Watch just in case. Just in case.
heartbeat was up?
Yes.
At 2:27, the night before, or around that time when you were looking up Hockomock before you went to bed, were you of the same state of mind, of fear and panic, or were you in a very different state of mind?
Objection. Strike the fear and panic part. You can answer that, though. You're the same mind or different?
Different.
What was your state of mind at that time?
I was relaxed, just playing on my phone, looking up things before I went to bed.
Do you think your heartbeat was as elevated that evening as it was the next morning?
Objection. Sustained.
When you made a search for how long to die in the cold or how long to die in cold. Is that something that you thought of for yourself?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No.
Why did you do it?
Miss Reed asked me to Google it.
And when was that?
That was in the morning after we found him.
And had you ever attempted either of those searches before Miss Reed asked you to do that?
No, I didn't.
You were
Really? There's another case you heard about an Apple Watch saving a mom, and I started wearing mine just in case. I know, I'm like, should I start wearing my Apple Watch? I just don't like how it, honestly, I just don't like how it looks. It has like a really sporty look, and I guess you could get a wrist strap that looks kind of like more like classy or something like that. But I don't know. It's just like more gadgets to deal with, more notifications to look at.
asked questions about the next day when you visited the O'Keefe home. And you read some records. Do you remember those questions?
Yes.
Do you remember going to the O'Keefe home?
I do, yes.
You went with who?
With Kerry and our 2 daughters.
You remember how many hours you spent with the O'Keefe family?
I don't remember how many hours, say a few.
Was it over 3 or 4?
Could have been, I'm not sure.
What is the reason that you spent so much time at the O'Keefe home the next day?
We went over to offer support, love, comfort, to be with them.
You weren't avoiding them, were you?
No, no.
Sustain.
After you left the O'Keefe home and
Shit, my bad. I was saying how sorry, because I have allergies right now, so I keep muting it so you guys don't hear me like blowing up my nose and shit like that. But I was saying how I feel like it's so important to have 2 Apple devices with you now, because if you get robbed or if you get pickpocketed like my mom did, in order to track your device, you need to have another Apple device to track it. Like you need to have your iPad with you, or you need to log into your iCloud. But in order to log into your iCloud, they do that 2-factor shit where you need an Apple device to verify it. So yeah, that's the only reason why I kind of want to have my Apple Watch with me, just in case, if I lose my phone or something happens to it, and I could fucking track it. Sorry guys, it's allergy season. Usually I don't always mute the microphone, but during allergy season, like, I don't know, it's so bad right now. I'm just like, it's going crazy. I hate they don't have to say what the objection is. I know. I hate the way the judge does things when it regards to that. I'm like, please. I think the defense tried changing that, and she's like, no, I'm just going to continue doing that way. It's like, okay, fine. Fine. Do it your way, judge.
reading the records, I don't know if this is your memory, it was suggested it was 5:12. Do you remember going to Fairview?
I remember driving by Fairview on the way to Mike Lank's.
When you went to Fairview, you asked questions about when you stopped by, whether that meant you went in or were outside. Do you remember whether you went in or were outside?
We never went in.
Have you seen your phone records that there are no calls to your sister when you went by Fairview at that time?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I haven't, no.
And when you went by, you were asked about that. In fact, you had been asked about that before, hadn't you? Whether
Yeah.
you stopped by?
Yes.
And Attorney Jackson showed you part of that statement?
Yes,
Did you, when you were saying that's part of the statement, did you read the whole statement to yourself?
I did.
And to put that in completeness, had you, under oath, talked about the fact that you went by that day?
I'm confused by your question.
Okay, may I approach?
Yes.
Oh, was this the line of questioning about whether or not they went by 34 Fairview when they were on the way to Sergeant Lank's house? I do remember Jackson doing that in cross-examination. What was like the big major deal about that? Do you guys know? Because apparently she went from her house and then she said she drove by 34 Fairview and then she went to Sergeant Lank's house to like drop off like some daughter or something like that. Maybe it was her daughter or someone else's kid.
Thank you.
You were shown page 181 and then 182?
Yes,
And so when you were asked about that before, had you in fact offered under oath that you did go by Fairview?
yes,
When you stopped by Fairview, according to the questions you were asked, or the records you were asked to read, it was 4 minutes you stopped by Fairview. Does that sound like your memory?
No, I know we drove.
I remember him saying 4 minutes, not 45 minutes. I think maybe 45 minutes was at Lank's house. But I remember Jackson saying that you were at 34 Fairview for 4 minutes. And she's like, no, I drove by. And then for Lank's, it was the 45 minutes. Oh, hi, Sarah. How are you doing today? Hello. How's it going? Hello, hello.
By, slowed down, and we were looking outside.
Why did you want to go back to the very scene that you had seen that morning?
I think Carrie and I I'm not really sure. I think we just drove down and we.
All right, so your answer is not really sure.
Okay.
Next question.
And then according to the records that were read to you, you went to Detective Lank's house?
Yes.
And you were at that address for about 40 minutes, 50 minutes?
Yes.
Sergeant Lank.
You were read or shown certain text messages between you and some of your family.
Yes.
Was that a complete listing of the text messages in order that were on your phone?
I had a lot of text messages with them on my phone, yes.
Were some missing from what you were shown?
I'm not sure.
Okay. You were asked about your state of mind. I'm going to ask you about some of those text messages in a minute. You were asked about calls and text messages to John O'Keefe?
Yes.
Oh, I do want to say this about the text message, though. I think last year, Jackson did a way better job at being really explosive about the text messages, like emphasizing that guy. But this time, he was a lot more chill. So I wonder if he was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit more chill about the text messages because maybe last year he didn't think it was as effective. But I thought it was going to go crazy again. But, you know, he didn't. He was a lot more chill with the text messages.
Have you ever inadvertently called anybody before on your iPhone?
I'll allow it.
Yes, many times.
And you were asked whether or not you remembered or knew that those calls were made to Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes.
Did you purposely make those calls?
No, I do not believe so.
If you inadvertently called on purpose, it wouldn't be inadvertent, would it?
True.
Did John ever answer any of your calls after that 1218 call?
No, he didn't.
And when you were reaching out to him, did you reach out to him the next morning after you heard from the defendant?
I did, yes.
What?
No, next question, Mr. Bowman.
Why were you reaching out to him?
Because I was trying to get in touch with him. Because Miss Reed said he didn't come home.
You were asked about your state of mind over the next couple days?
Yes.
Okay. And I'd like to ask you about some of the text messages reflecting your full state of mind over the next couple days.
Oh, this has to be really brief.
All right, approach. Hello, everyone in the courtroom. How is everyone dressed today? Last time we had a theme of blues and greens, but I guess everyone's just all over the place with colors today. Damn, how long is this fucking sidebar? Judge says, let's make it quick. Oh, hell no. Are we caught up already? I think we're caught up. All right, I'll slow it down then.
All right, jurors, you're about to hear some evidence. And remember, I told you this morning that before you consider any electronic communication in your deliberations, you must first find that it is more likely true than not that the person who authored or created or sent, transmitted this communication was in fact the person alleged to have done so. If you do not find it is more likely true than not that the person alleged to have transmitted, created these messages, then you may not consider the electronic communication in deciding this case. And remember, what you're about to hear, you're not to use for the truth of the statement.
She gave this warning earlier this morning, but I guess, is she going to do it every time we have text messages, or?
It goes simply to the state of mind of Ms. McCabe at the time of the message. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you. May I approach?
There's a guy in there, they had 2 screens up earlier, but they were out of sync, and I thought there's 2 of him for hours. What do you mean? He's a twin. Maybe even a triplet.
For the copy for the witness.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see John's mom.
Thank you.
Not right now. Hey, do you think she heard our feedback about the blue and that's why she's wearing the blue again? Jen? Like Corgi in her chat like the blue. Let me wear the
When
blue
law
again.
enforcement asks for your phone, was there any requirement you give that to them?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you voluntarily consent to give your entire phone to law enforcement?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Yes, I did.
I handed you a document that reflects your text messages from that morning and the next day. You were asked about some of them on the screen. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, and you were asked how that affected your state of mind and the decisions that you were making, correct?
Yes.
I want to read along, and I'll indicate if you look at the number on the left, and then I'll read it, and you can let me know if I read it accurately.
Okay.
The curtain behind the judge looks so tacky. Oh, I didn't see it. Which one?
Starting at number 17, there's a phone call saying,
Hi,
please
Rhea.
answer. Who are you calling?
How are you, Rhea?
I'm sorry, where does it
May I
say?
approach?
Yes.
Oh, that's the number right
This
there.
would be the number?
I will say, though, we are getting less of Darth Vader today.
This would be the calling? This would
Okay.
be-
Okay, so it's John O'Keefe. Okay. Thanks, sorry.
Every quarter reminds me of the H&R Block my mom worked at in 95.
Number 17, a phone call, please answer. Who are you calling?
John O'Keefe.
Do you know at that point where he is?
No.
459-49. Number 18, Karen is worried. We need to find you.
John O'Keefe.
504-40. Number 19, please answer so I know you're okay. Who are you calling?
John O'Keefe.
Number 26, 515-41,
I think H&R Block is like a company that does your taxes, right?
129. Okay, I'm trying to call people. I will be in touch soon. Do you know who you're calling?
I don't recognize the number.
What are you thinking at this point?
I'm trying to find people. I'm trying to call people so that I can try to find John.
Number 31, 522-57, 129. Okay, I tried to Beatty. Okay, I just talked to her. What are you referring to?
I don't know whose number this is.
Okay. At this point in the morning, you're making these phone calls. Do you know where John is?
No, I have no idea where he is.
Let me refresh.
Turn to morning, you're making these phone calls. Do you know where John is?
No, I have no idea where he is.
Turn to number 48, 129-22 at 8:44. You're texting any update. What is your state of mind?
Which number is this?
Number 48.
48. I believe that may be to Kerry Roberts, and I'm trying to get an update from the hospital.
You were asked about your relationship with Kerry Roberts. At that time, before that night, how many times had you met her?
Once.
And you said in the moment, did that relationship change?
Yes, instantly.
Was it for collusion?
No.
Let me ask you, number 160, this is 129.
We'll watch some of the cross together, David. I thought it was a lot better today. And there were some parts where I thought was going to be just as explosive as last year, and it wasn't. So I wonder if the defense decided to kind of like tone down a little bit on some areas that they thought maybe wasn't as effective. But I don't know, man. I thought last year was pretty effective when they were talking about the text messages. I felt like it was a lot more chill this time.
At 2 in that afternoon. Do you have 160?
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm still not understanding why they went to the Albert's house. When?
Okay, I'm here.
160. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can't stop seeing him in the snow. Jen, this is awful. Who's that from?
Kerry.
Is your state of mind collusion?
No.
Objection.
I'll allow it. Don't ask it again, please, Mr. Brenner.
168. $129.22 at 2:04:32. You're calling Miss Roberts. Every time I close my eyes, it's all I see. I feel like I'm going to vomit. I just can't even. I know how close you two were. Can't imagine how hard the situation is for you. Does this reflect your state of mind that day?
Yeah. I'll allow it. Objections noted. Next question.
We need to approach on this particular text.
Come to sidebar. Oh, sorry.
All right, this direct examination, I think what we'll do is let's go back and watch them across together. We'll come back to direct, and then in direct we can like speed it up a little bit. We're gonna have a lot of sidebars. Let me go to the part that I thought was getting real explosive.
I'd like to move back to the time of about 6:03 in the morning.
Where are we?
Ms. McCabe, when you, along with Carrie Roberts and Ms. Reed, approached 34 Fairview. This is Exhibit 4. It's been previously entered into evidence. I think you've seen part of this exhibit.
Oh, this part? Okay, I don't know why the defense is really trying to get this in, but you guys let me know what you guys think, okay? Let's listen real quick.
Could you hear that?
I heard something.
Could you hear my client? Did it sound like Ms. Reed?
It sounded like a female.
Did it sound like Ms. Reed, the female?
I'm not sure. Could I listen to it again?
With the court permission, one more time?
One more time.
Could you hear it?
I could hear it, yes.
What did she say?
I have no idea.
Did she say, my boyfriend, I left him, and he never came home?
See, I don't know. They mentioned this earlier with a different not suspect. They mentioned this earlier with a different witness too. Was it Carrie Roberts or maybe a paramedic? I don't remember. But one, it's really hard to understand what Karen Reed is saying. Like, we listened to it, we slowed it down, we had 2 earbuds in. It was hard for me to understand and listen to it. And then 2, I don't see how that statement really helps Karen Reed, because it could sound like if you said you left someone somewhere, it could be like, yeah, I left him on the front lawn. I left him in front of the house, not like, oh, I left him and then he went inside the house. And, you know, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the term I left him seems like you kind of like left someone at a spot, not you dropped them off and they went into a house. But I don't know. I mean, they're trying to bring the statement in. I don't know how it helps them. If you guys know how it helps them, let me know. It would be kind of interesting to hear another perspective on that.
I could not make that out.
You testified on direct examination that you were basically a passenger along in this ride on.
Oh, no. Okay, we're going to go back a little bit. This is where, I think right here.
To die in the cold. How long to die in cold? How long?
Ah, yes, this right here. Right around here. Right around here. Right around.
Can't read.
You're well aware. You don't have to be a phone expert to know.
Right around here. Okay.
I'm confused. Are you talking about...
Let me rephrase the question.
Okay, sorry.
On the night of the early morning hours.
I'm not hearing it, but the line of questioning after the video raised my eyebrows so high, I almost morphed into Sam Cedar.
January 29th, 2022. You left here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What
Okay.
time did you get home today?
It was after 2, I believe. I'm not positive.
You went upstairs, is that right?
Yes.
You began to engage with your phone
Yes.
at that time. What application did you open up on your phone?
I'm thinking of this movie. You ever seen this movie, Just Go With It? And then there's a lady who wants to fix her eyebrows, and her eyebrows are like very crazy. This is a movie with Adam Sandler where he's like I think he's like a plastic surgeon or something. He's having some sort of crisis. He gets a young girlfriend, and then he ends up falling in love with his like medical assistant or some shit like that. Okay, let's see what you guys think. I'm telling you, watch it for that dude is on the screen twice. It's where she says I left him when before they had been looking for him in various other places and help prove in my opinion. Yeah, I just want to know, why does the defense want to get this in?
Once you got upstairs.
It could have been Hockomock Sports.
I'm sorry. I'm backing up foundationally. What application on the phone? Was it Safari?
Oh, okay, yes. I think, yes.
You use Safari as your browser?
I'm not sure what I used.
You opened up a search engine as well within that browser, did you not?
I just know I Googled Hockomock Sports, I believe. I'm not sure what app I opened or how I went about it.
So Google is a search engine. You use
Okay.
Google.
Possibly. I mean, that's just an expression, but I'm not, if you could show my record, I'm not sure what app I opened.
Well,
or
Ms.
what.
McCabe, you've seen this record many, many times about that search early in the morning hours, correct? You know that it was a Google search.
It was Google. Okay, it was a Google search.
Okay, so it was a Google search using the Safari app.
Okay.
You indicated that you were Google searching Hockomock Sports and something about Ozone?
Yes.
Ozone Sports or
It
Ozone
was
Basketball?
Yes.
What time was it that you did that Google search?
It was when I was home up in bed. I don't have an exact time.
About 2:27 a.m., correct?
I'd have to look at a record. I don't recall
You
off the top of my
recall
head.
that time frame, don't you?
I know I was home and I Googled that, but I don't remember the exact time.
You do recognize 2:27 a.m.
I do recognize it, but it's not from me remembering it from that night specifically. It's from me learning afterwards.
And what you learned afterwards was there was a Google search at 2:27 a.m., right? I mean, that's a layup, to use a basketball term, right?
There's a record, I think, of one.
Right. The record is of a Google search at 2:27 a.m. on your phone. Is that right?
I'm not a phone expert, so I don't know. I can't read.
You're well aware. You don't have to be a phone expert to know that there was a Google search on your phone recovered at 2:27 in the morning. You know that. You've been told that. You've seen it. You've been asked about it dozens of times, haven't you?
I have been asked about it dozens of times, yes.
So let's set the foundation. There was a Google search on your phone at 2:27 a.m., correct?
Which Google search are you referring to?
It doesn't matter, Ms. McCabe.
Well, I know I did Ozone and I did Hockomock Sports.
And I didn't ask
and
you
those
that.
were the only two things that I Googled.
I didn't ask you what you Googled. I haven't gotten there yet. We're going to get there. I've asked you, was there a Google search at 2:27 a.m. on your phone?
If you want to show me a report.
Sure.
Okay.
You don't know about Google search at 2:27 a.m. That's what you're testifying to in front of this jury right now.
I know, right? Imagine being grown about when you Googled something.
Are you asking me if I made a Google search at 2:27? I don't know what time I was searching for Hockomock Sports and Ozone. I have no idea what time that was.
You're well aware that your records have been pulled, correct?
Yes, they have.
You've been confronted with those records many times, haven't you?
I've been asked by you, yes.
And by others, right?
Yes.
I mean, the police have asked you about it. You've been interviewed about it.
I've been asked by you.
And Mr. Lally?
Yeah, Mr. Lally asked about it, yes.
And every time you're asked, it's about a Google search at 2:27 a.m. That's all I'm asking.
It is, but it's not one that I remember doing or making or did. It's not one I did. It's just one that is in a record that was misread.
Are you denying that you made a Google search at 2:27 a.m.?
If you could show me this Google search, I'd appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, he's coming. Is this the long sidebar? We have
We'll look at something we
lots.
display
Whoa.
on the
Not that long today. Okay.
on the screen and ask you a couple of questions about that. Can you zoom in?
I object to the way it's presented here.
That's not how it appears. You need to.
Oh, okay. They're gonna show. Hold on. Da-da-da-da. That was the defense's exhibit.
Did you wanted to see a record, Ms. McCabe? Did you see a record that indicated a Google search? Not what the contents of the Google search is, but there was a Google search.
I just saw a Celebrate record, yes.
And did you see the time of the Google search?
On that record, yes.
It's at 2:27 a.m., correct?
Yes.
Ultimately, you will agree that there was a Google search done, and now I'm going to ask about the content of Hoslong to Dying Cold, correct?
That was done in the morning at the request of Ms.
Ms.
Reed.
McCabe, I didn't ask you that. I asked you a yes or no question. Did you understand my question?
Could you repeat it, please?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Did that record indicate that there was a search at some point done, at some point, for Hoslong to Dying Cold?
I object to recovering the record.
So was there a search on that at some point?
On that paper, was there a search that said that? Is that the question?
Let's start with that.
Yes. Yeah, there was.
Okay, now let me ask you a different question. You Google searched the phrase Hoslong to Dying Cold. Yes or no?
Yes.
On January 29th, correct?
Yes.
The jury has to be so confused. Wait, so who's the defendant in this case again? Is it her or the other lady?
So you agree that you were on Google, correct?
Yes.
You agree that there was a search done at 2:27 a.m., correct?
I don't recall doing a search at 2:27. The paper says it. I don't.
Okay, and you also agree that at some point that morning you plugged into that phone Hoslong to Dying Cold. Is that right?
Yes. After we found John O'Keefe.
Now you claim that that was at 6:23 and at 6:24 in the morning. Two iterations of how long to die in the cold. Hoslong to die in cold. How long TI die in CIKD. Correct?
I'm not claiming it. It's the truth. It's what happened.
You're testifying to that.
Yes, I am.
You also testified that at the time you Google searched those phrases, it was Karen Reed screaming and yelling at you, shaking you, to Google hypothermia. Correct?
She was pulling on my sleeve. Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. you have discussed this Google search and the issue of the hypothermia with Carrie Roberts, correct?
I told her in the days following.
You discussed it?
Yes,
You discussed it in the days following January 29th, correct?
yes.
You discussed it before her testimony at the grand jury, correct?
We discussed it after. We don't talk about what we're going to say before testifying or anything
So
like
in
that.
the 3 months between this incident and the testimony by both you and Ms. Roberts, you two did not discuss this hypothermia issue?
It wasn't an issue. It was just something she said, but we don't discuss it every day. There's no.
Jen is being so obsessive about driving a particular storyline home to the jury. Does not help her nor the prosecution. She comes off as a control freak who has no trust in the jury. Yeah, I think defense attorneys and even the witness on the stand, it's like you have to be careful who you're performing for. Are you performing for the audiences who are watching the live stream, or should you perform in quotation marks for the jury? Because I feel like sometimes, you know, when these attorneys or the witnesses are performing for the live stream viewers because, you know, they want to convince the public and all that stuff, I don't know, man. I feel like just keep it simple. Try to convince the jury. Try to convince the people who's in the courtroom. Forget about the rest of the world that's watching. But I get that's really hard too because, you know, you do want to prove the world wrong if you think that they have a, you know, incorrect view of you. So I can see what she's trying to do, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like she's trying to balance it. But I think sometimes the attorneys, they have to be careful too when they are trying to perform for the live stream viewers.
No need to.
I didn't ask you to discuss it every day. I asked you if you ever discussed it.
Originally, yes, we did discuss it in the first days following all of
And
this.
that would have been before either one of you testified at the grand jury, correct?
Yes,
And we know that you were with her during her, just before her testimony at the grand jury. Is that right?
And then you have to balance it with being really careful with your words when you're being cross-examined because your words can be used against you in a way that initially didn't seem it was harmful, but then because, you know, I feel like attorneys are really good at turning things on you sometimes. It's like, oh, fuck, I should have been be careful with my words, or I should have said this, or I should have said that, or maybe I shouldn't have conceded to this. So I feel like there's like so many balancing acts that's happening right now, and especially with this is like trial number 2, right? They've already went trial number 1 with these attorneys. Now it's like trial number 2. They've had some practice, some experience, but it's like, I don't know, it's like you're balancing everything all at the same time. It must be really fucking hard. I don't envy her being in that chair. But yeah, when you're testifying, I mean, you just have to make it seem like you're not hiding something or you're not trying to convolute something, right? Just answer it directly as best as you can. But I get it. You're trying to drive a narrative because it's not just a jury whose, you know, ears are listening in. It's like all of us who's like watching right now.
Right?
yes.
And you're certainly aware
It's
that
hard.
at the grand jury that in prior testimony, Carrie Roberts corroborated your statement that Karen Reed demanded to Google hypothermia.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Are you aware that Carrie Roberts, well, let me ask it a different way. Have you and Carrie Roberts ever discussed the fact that she corroborated
For example, paramedic Nuttall, I thought he was a lot more objective in trial number 1. But when it came to trial number 2, because there's so much publicity on this and because there's a lot of like people that are watching and people think, you know, maybe you're part of a cover up or maybe you're like, you know, doing some weird shady things. I feel like now it's like when he was testifying for trial number 2, I feel like he was more trying to drive a narrative rather than just being an objective witness. But I mean, I get it, you know, that shit's fucking hard.
your statement that Karen Reed demanded that you Google hypothermia?
No.
She ever told you that?
No.
Did you ever ask her that?
No.
Did you discuss your statement that Karen Reed was the one that demanded that search?
Karen Reed did ask me to do the search, yes.
Okay, that's not what I asked you. Did you and Carrie Roberts discuss that?
Yes, we've talked about that.
Are you aware that last week Carrie Roberts denied hearing that statement? Yes.
Sustained.
Have you been told, have you been updated that last week Carrie Roberts denied ever having heard that statement? Yes.
Sustained.
May we approach?
Yes. Jurors, feel free to stand up and stretch.
Get up and stretch. Okay, I think it kind of just dies down after this. Maybe we'll to the text messages. Let me think.
I'm not sure what what cameras were where.
You're aware that there's no audio of my client demanding a Google search, correct?
Oh, okay. No, this is important. I think it's important.
Have you become aware from any source that last week Carrie Roberts denied having heard the statement that was attributable to my client?
No.
You aware of that?
No.
You've reviewed the video from the dash cam out at the scene, correct?
I've seen it, yes.
You're aware that there is no video showing my client demanding a Google search? anywhere in this case, correct?
I'm not sure what what cameras were where.
You're aware that there's no audio of my client demanding a Google search, correct?
Correct.
You're unaware of any witness who can corroborate your statement that my client demanded a Google search. Any witness at all.
It was just the two of us. She had sent Carrie off.
So, of course, Carrie Roberts is not such corroborating witness. Is that right? At least you understand that.
Can you rephrase the question, please?
Carrie Roberts is not a corroborating witness for you. You understand that? You just said that.
Yes, Carrie, I don't believe heard it. She was sent off.
So it's your word and your word only, Ms. McCabe, that my client demanded a Google search. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Ms. McCabe, you were with Carrie Roberts just before her grand jury testimony. Is that right?
Yes.
You had been with her to create a timeline of a version of events that occurred, correct?
I wouldn't say a version of events. We each put down what we remembered.
She saw what you put down, you saw what she put down.
Yes.
And you compared and contrasted those with each other to create that timeline, correct?
No, we didn't compare and contrast. I said she called me, she said this, then Carrie, and someone was writing it down for us.
That would be your sister, who?
It was my sister, yes.
Which sister?
My sister Denise
What's your last name?
Galvin.
Is she here?
She is here, yes.
Where is she?
She's sitting over there.
Can you point to her and describe what she's wearing?
Sure, she's over there in the back with a striped shirt on.
Between the gentleman in the purple and the gentleman in the black?
Okay, I want to get to the text messages with you guys. Text messages, text messages. You know, I have a feeling they're not going to call her husband to testify. The state, I mean. Here it is, here it is. Right around here. All right, let's look at the text messages. How many text messages do we have? Damn, we have a lot of breaks, a lot of fan footage today.
Find that it's more likely than not that they were the people who sent and received those. If you do not find it's more likely true than not that the person conceded or truth, understand.
All right, she's just giving the statement about text messages.
The witness might need that exhibit.
Your Honor, may I approach just to retrieve the exhibit? We'll take one bubble at it. Ms. McCabe, does this appear to be a representative copy of what you're looking at that's just been marked for evidence?
Yes, it does.
Starting at that top text, which is the green bubble here, can you see at the very top where it says from, there's a redaction?
Yes.
The last 4 digits of that phone number, do you recognize that?
Yes.
Is that your phone number?
Yes.
Do you see just beneath it says 2 and there's a line that says Coco?
Yes.
Is that your sister?
Yes, it
That's
is.
Nicole.
Yes.
And if you look down on the bottom right corner of this exhibit, do you see a time and date stamp?
Yes.
And Nicole is the owner of 34 Fairview. Yes, Nicole. I always get Nicole and fucking Julie mixed up.
I do.
What is that time and date?
It's 1:29:22 at 7:54.
Is that 7:54 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. Can you read for the jurors what you texted to your sister at 7:54?
Sure. Carrie talked to the cops and kept it simple.
Who's Carrie?
Carrie Roberts.
And this is a text that you sent about Miss Roberts' interview with the police.
Yes, it is.
If Mr. Woke, can we pull up the next text, please? Do you see the response in the blue bubble?
Yes, I do.
Who's responding to whom?
I'm responding to my sister, Nicole.
Can you please tell us the time? And we know it's the same date. What time is that?
That would be 7:56. Or 58, sorry. I'm not sure if that's an 8 or a 6.
I may have misheard you. The blue bubble is from whom?
It's from my sister, Nicole.
To whom?
To me.
Okay, I may have misheard you. I thought you said the reverse. I want to make sure we're very clear. The blue bubble is from Nicole. The green bubbles are from you.
Yes, correct.
Got it. And this text says, I'm sorry, read that for me one more time.
Sure. Okay. Try and get some sleep. Talk tomorrow.
Next text, please. What's the time?
Honestly, I thought their approach for trial number 2 was just going to be focusing on the shitty investigations and how it was done horribly. I don't know. I thought they were going to kind of lay back on the conspiracy stuff because there was jury feedback about how they thought the conspiracy or, the like finger pointing, they just thought it was a distractor and it was like by the defense is doing. But I don't know. Maybe that was only like a couple jury that thought that. I could have sworn that one guy that did an interview, I thought he talked to it with the other jurors and they all thought the conspiracy thing was just a distractor. I don't know. So I figured maybe like for trial number 2, just really hone down and focus on how bad the investigation was. Sean, hello, how are you doing today? Happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday. I just got home from work a little while ago. Now I'm working on your fan fiction horror novel. Oh, that sounds fun. Do you guys watch Laura Lee by any chance? Her and her members, they're writing a, I think like a murder mystery novel, but they're writing it as like a group. Sounds really cool. The dirty cops are involved, going to delivering ammo to the defense. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they'll definitely, when the law enforcement starts testifying, they'll definitely take that angle. But I just want to know what the jury thinks right now. Oh, I wish there was a way we could like get into their brains, you know?
Time of this text?
7:57.
This is from you to Coco, to Nicole?
Yes.
What does that text say?
Any update?
What did you mean by any update?
I meant had she heard anything or learned anything new?
That sounds
Next
so
text,
fun.
please.
I know, right?
Do you see a response from your sister to you?
Yes.
What does that say?
We'll get more info tomorrow. Don't want to text about it.
Next text, please. Is this a text from you to your sister Nicole?
Yes, it is.
What does that say?
Right.
Next text, please. What is the date and time of this text?
It is 1:29 and 2022 at 8:01 p.m.
And this is in response to the text that you just read from you to your sister. And this
Yeah.
is now a text from your sister back to you, correct?
Correct.
What does this text say?
Okay, text me in AM or if you hear anything later.
Thank you. We can bring the lights up for just a moment. One of the texts, the third from the bottom text on the second page, in other words, the top text on the page, was from your sister to you. We'll get more info, TOMM, correct?
Yes.
Don't want to text about it, correct?
David says, are they dirty or just insanely complacent and incompetent? Small town. I don't know. Small town cops. I don't know, man. Because there is a report that came out. They did an investigation into Canton PD, I think. Yeah, Canton PD and then how they handled this investigation. If y'all ever have a chance, read that fucking report. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. It's basically a report that talks about how they literally just like didn't do the investigation very well, as you guys know. You know, collecting things in the red solo cups, using the leaf blower and stuff like that, not having evidence collection bags in their possession and stuff like that. Yeah, if you guys are bored, read that report. I think Laura Lee went over it, maybe some other content creators, but yeah.
Yes.
TOMM means tomorrow.
Yes.
This was January 29th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Tomorrow would have been January 30th,
Yes.
2022. Is that right?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm holding another document. This is a multi-page document. 8 pages in total length. There's a base page on the bottom, 02148. Thank you. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you please take a look at that document, flip through it, and let me know when you're finished?
This is the document we discussed at sidebar.
It is, Your Honor. May I stand up I'm going to hand you this one and ask that this be marked. Okay. There be a group chat between and among yourself, Nicole Albert.
Oh, I think these are the text messages that I want to look at. Yeah, the pizza shop ones. Oh, yes.
Start at the second text down. Ms. Wool, can you make that a little bigger? I apologize. Thank you. Do you recognize what's depicted both on the screen and in your hand?
Yes.
Does it appear to be the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. Taking a look at that first text, who is that from and who is it to?
Okay. All right. It's from Brian Albert, and it's to myself, my sister Nicole, and Matt McCabe, my husband.
If you could orient us, please, and I won't do this with every single text, but orient us for the first text. What date and time is this text?
This is February 1st at 12:50.
So this is about 3 days after the event in question.
Yes.
12:50 noon.
Noon, yeah.
Just before 1 p.m.
Yes.
What does that text say?
Julie said Channel 4 is in D&E.
And that's from whom?
Brian.
So Brian Albert explain what that text means.
So Brian Albert is telling us that Julie told him Channel 4 is in D&E.
Who's Julie?
I'm sorry, Julie Albert.
Thank you. Let's go to the next text. Is this in response to the text that you just read?
Yes.
The prior text mentioned Channel 4 and D&E. What is D&E?
D&E is a sub shop that is owned by Chris Albert.
Is that in Canton?
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's in Canton.
On the main street of Canton?
Yes.
Directly next door to what?
Waterfall.
Across the street from
Oh,
Waterfall.
sorry, C.F. McCarthy's, yeah.
Thank you. Across the street from Waterfall, directly adjoining, they have an adjoining wall to C.F. McCarthy's, correct?
Yes.
And D, is it D and E or D in E?
D and E.
D and E. Okay,
Yeah.
that's just the name of the pizza sub shop.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that context. Ms. McCabe, can you read what this text says, who it's from and who it's to?
This
Clicking
is
buttons.
from Matt McCabe to myself, my sister Nicole, and Brian.
Can you read it for us, please?
Sure. Eating, I assume. Ask Chris to ask some questions. Tell them the guy never went into the house.
What does tell them the guy never went into the house mean to you? How did you take that?
I took that as John never came in the house.
Who's the guy?
John.
John O'Keefe.
Yes.
And the beginning of that sentence is tell them that the guy never came in the house, correct?
Yes.
And the sentence before that is ask Chris to ask some questions, correct?
Yes.
So this is Matt McCabe directing that Chris ask questions of Channel 4, correct?
I wouldn't say directing.
Whatever word you want to use. He was,
No, I'm saying that.
Don't you remember last year when Jackson was asking about these text messages? He was way more explosive. He was like, the guy? You mean the guy that you guys claim to be close friends with? The guy that you claim to be taking care of each other's kids? Like, remember how he was going like in on like the guy phrase? I'm surprised he did it. He kind of just, that was it.
Yes.
in response to that text.
Yes.
And what does Brian Albert respond?
Exactly.
One word, correct?
Yes.
Next text, please.
I know this has no basis whatsoever, but I wonder if someone was having an affair or some sort. I don't know, man. Or something to want the world or their wife or their family seeing their text messages or something like that. I just wonder if they're just caught up in some other weird fucking shit.
This is a green box, so I presume this is you.
Yes, it is.
And this is to whom?
To Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
And what does your text read?
It means, oh my God.
It's ONG, but
Yeah.
it meant to be OMG, correct?
Yes, yeah, I do a lot of errors.
Which stands for oh my God.
Yes.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
So this is from my sister Nicole to myself, to Brian, and to Matt.
And what does that text read?
It says, I assume it's just to eat, but Brian, if she is there, ask her what the deal is.
Next text, please. Before we
I swear it's not me. My hand's not on the keyboard. My hand's not on the mouse or anything like that, okay? I'm just doing my makeup. I'm not doing anything. Now the laptop is doing it too. Wait, what's going on with your shit? It's happening on your Xbox?
before I ask you about this text, the last text, that was from whom? One more time.
My sister Nicole.
It was from your sister Nicole,
Yes.
and she mentions a she, a pronoun she.
Yes.
Is that referring to Julie Albert?
To be honest, I don't know who she's referring to.
Well, remember the first text started, or did the first text start with someone reporting that Julie said that Channel 4 was in D&E?
Yes, it did.
So would that prior text mean get Julie Albert to get some updates on what's going on?
I'm
Let's go back to that last text one more time.
Yeah,
See where it reads, if she's there? Does that mean if Julie is at D&E, hence she just reported that Channel 4 is there?
I'm truly not sure if who she's referring to as the she.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go to the next text, please. Mr. Wilk, I think you missed one. The one above it? Who's this text from and who's it to?
This text is from myself, and it is to my sister Nicole, to Brian, and to Matt.
And what does this read?
This says to ask if we heard if she is in a mental hospital.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from me to my sister Nicole, to Brian, and to Matt.
What's the time on this text?
2:55.
And what does it read?
Carrie is here going over timeline.
Who's the Carrie referring to?
Carrie Roberts.
What is here?
I would assume here would mean my house.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from Brian to me, to Nicole, to Matt.
And what does this text read?
I did hear that.
Next text, please.
Oh, well, happy belated birthday, Sarah. I'm glad that you had power for your birthday at least. Ooh. If you guys are ever in an area that gets like really bad storms or like their power lines are like unreliable, the number one thing I always recommend is get the little like what's it called? the little gas stove things, but like they're like tiny little gas canteens things. So you can make like, you know, some noodles, some ramen. When we had was it Hurricane Sandy? Forgot. Was it? I think it was Hurricane Sandy. Yeah, those were a fucking like lifesaver. Just like making some food, you know, boiling some water and stuff like that.
Who's this text from and who's it to?
This text is from me to my sister Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
What does it read?
And we handed the phone to Kerry.
Who's Carrie?
Kerry Roberts.
What phone are you referring to?
Mine.
Who was on the other end of that phone?
On February 1st, I believe it could have been Michael Proctor.
Next text, please. Who is this from and who's it to?
This is from me to Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
What does it read?
She is telling him everything.
Everything is in all caps with an exclamation point, correct?
Yes, it is.
What's the timestamp on this, Ms. McCabe?
2:55.
Who's the him that you're referring to in this text?
I believe it was Michael Proctor.
Next text, please.
And I remember last year they were making a huge deal about the texting. She's telling them everything. I don't know. I feel like he's just like kind of chilling these text messages this year.
Who is this from and who's it to?
This is from me to Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
What's the timestamp on this text?
2:55.
Same minute that you sent the last text?
Yes.
She's telling him everything?
Yes.
And then you follow up with what?
All the stuff.
Next text, please.
Right? Isn't he a lot more chill? Jackson, what's going
Who's
on
this
here?
responsive text from?
This is from Matt to myself, Nicole, and Brian.
And what's the timestamp on this?
4:35.
What does this read?
Yep, if she pleads out, it will end. If she fights it, it will be an episode.
Who's she?
I'm assuming that would be Miss Reed.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from Nicole to me, to Matt, and to Brian.
And what does this read?
She liked the text about
the previous
yeah.
text?
Yes.
Meaning like a thumbs up or a like?
Yeah, it just says liked. So
The one that reads, yeah, if she pleads, it will end. If she fights, it will be an episode.
yes.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from Matt. Oh, sorry, to me, to Nicole, and to Brian.
And what does this read?
Brian, sitting separate.
Is that a period or a comma? I honestly can't see. Is that a period or a comma between Brian and sitting? Or can you tell?
I can't tell if it is or it's just like the way it printed out. I'm not sure.
Next text, please.
React channels for ruining me.
Who's this from and who's it to?
Brian, to me, Nicole, and Matt.
What's the timestamp on this?
That is 4:55.
And what does that text read?
Okay.
And the next text. This is another green bubble. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is me, Matt, me, Nicole, Matt, and Brian.
And what did you say? What did you write in this text?
I wrote you listening.
And what's the timestamp on this?
That is 5:15.
I'm sorry, it would be what time?
Oh, I'm sorry, 5:15.
And in fact,
What time?
at 5:15, Ms. Roberts was in your house being personally interviewed by Massachusetts State Police, correct?
They were there. I'm not sure if this is the exact time, but yes, they did come over.
Just to be clear and to orient us, there was a phone conversation that you were privy to between Carrie Roberts and Michael Proctor telephonically. Right?
She was
Earlier in the day.
Yeah, earlier in the day, he had called me, and then Kerry had asked to speak with him.
And that's the handing for the phone. correct?
Yes.
And later, a couple of hours later, 5-ish or so, she was still at your house. Michael Proctor came over and interviewed her at your home.
No,
I'm sorry.
sorry.
Massachusetts State Police.
Came over and spoke to myself, her, and Matt.
And you wrote you listening to the group, correct?
Yes.
Who was that specifically directed to?
I honestly don't know.
Was there anybody else in the house during her interview other than you and the troopers?
My husband, Matt, my daughter, her friend, my other daughter. There
So
was-
of the people on this text chain, the only person that would have been in the house that could have conceivably, quote unquote, listened would be Matt. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
It's from me to Matt, Nicole, and Brian.
And what does it read?
Cops here again.
You were reporting to the others on this text stream that the police had arrived at your house. They were in your house with you and Carrie. That you just.
We used to do react stuff sometimes. I used to watch like funny shit with you guys. I've just been lazy. I haven't seen anything worth watching. But remember, were you here during the Mr. Roger, or was it Mr. Roger, Uncle Roger? Like when we watched the cooking stuff, dude, that shit was wild. Seeing people just ruin dishes was so funny.
Described, correct?
Yes, I was just telling them that they were here again.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from my sister, Nicole, to myself, Brian, and Matt. And Nicole says, call us after.
And what time was this?
This was 5:23.
Did you take this to mean that she wanted you to call the group after Carrie Roberts' interview and update them about that interview?
I took it as that she just wanted, to call and see what the cops said and if there was any update, any information.
Next text, please. Who's it from and who's it to?
This is from Matt, and it's to myself, Nicole, and Brian.
What time is this?
This is at 5:31.
And at 5:31, what does Mr. McCabe write to the group?
This girl could write a book nonstop.
Was that in reference to Carrie Roberts having her interview with the Massachusetts State Police?
Yes, it was.
And this girl is Carrie, correct?
Yes.
Next text, please.
Man, anyone else wish that these fucking interviews were videotaped? I want to listen to what was going on. I want to hear this.
Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from me to Nicole, Brian, and Matt.
What time is this text?
5:32.
And what do you write to the group?
I love it.
And this is in direct response to Matt McCabe's, your husband's text about Carrie Roberts could write a book, correct?
Yes.
Suggesting that both you and Mr. McCabe were listening to her interview, correct?
We could hear different parts of it, correct?
Next text, please. And who's this from and who's it to?
This is from me to Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
And what did you write?
I wrote, she is telling them everything.
Similar to the text that we earlier saw that was in all caps when you indicated she's telling them everything, correct?
Yes.
On the phone. That was in reference to what she was saying on the phone.
Yes.
This is in reference to the live interview, correct?
Yes.
Also indicating that you were listening to and were privy to the content of her conversation with the police.
I could hear bits and pieces of it, yes.
Enough to say that she's telling them everything.
When I used the word everything, I meant it in not only was she telling them what had happened, but she was also telling them opinions and different things.
Okay, so you could hear it that much.
I could hear her saying some opinions.
Okay. Next text, please.
Guys, remember last year? Last year, we were these texts were made into such a huge deal. I feel like we're so much more chill now. You know what? Jackson must be so angry that last year, Jen McCabe was a little unhinged sometimes, or kind of like she was taking the bait when she was on the witness stand. This year, however, she's not taking the bait as much. She's a lot more chill, more composed. Jackson must be so annoyed because he probably wanted to have that other Jen McCabe, trial number 1 Jen McCabe. He's like, fuck. Now that she's like all calm and chill up there, now I got to be calm and chill because I don't want to be looking unhinged. I remember they made such a big deal about these text messages.
This is from my sister Nicole to myself to Matt to Brian.
And this is in response to she is telling them everything, correct?
Yes.
And the text reads what?
Good.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from Matt to myself, to Nicole, and to Brian.
And what does it read?
He says, going to miss the basketball game at this rate.
You mean Matt says?
Oh, sorry. Matt says, going to miss the basketball game at this rate.
If I was a defense attorney, I would jump on this fucking text message right now. So this is the same husband that early referred to John O'Keefe, your dearest friend, as that guy. And now that Carrie Roberts is getting an interview about John O'Keefe dying about a couple days ago, all he cares about is watching a basketball game. Like, honestly, I don't know, man. I'll be jumping on this shit like crazy. Like, something tells me, or I don't know, this is conjecture, but I wonder if Matt McCabe didn't really like John O'Keefe. I wonder if they weren't close. I wonder if he was just like meh about John. I don't know. Matt seems like an interesting person. That guy and him only caring about missing the basketball game when Carrie Roberts is giving an interview. Like, I don't know, man.
Indicating that he was still in the house and still privy to the conversation between Carrie Roberts and the Massachusetts State Police.
He was waiting for them to talk, but Carrie kept talking, was as he said.
Maybe this is the inappropriate witness to be doing that with, and maybe they're waiting for Matt McCabe to testify. Because I'd be like, so, I thought you were close friends with John, or your wife was. Like, why refer to him as that guy? Why care more about this basketball game? You got to go do some yard work. Oh, have fun with the yard work stuff. I was doing yard work earlier. I find it funny how, yes, Uncle Roger hates Jamie Oliver with a passion. Yes. Oh, Jamie.
She could write a book, so he felt he was going to miss the game because she just kept talking.
Next text, please.
Hey, Grits.
That may be the end of it.
Yeah, it is.
Is that the last text on the page?
Yes, it is.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, my fucking head. Fucking
Do you want
headband
both of
hurts
them?
my head.
Okay, there you go.
Right? Like, he was so chill about these text messages. The heck? Last year was way
Mr.
more
McCabe,
crazy.
Yes.
These text messages were on a private chat, both the one between you and your sister, as well as the group chat, correct? Those are private chats, not open to the public.
Correct.
You never intended, obviously, for any of those texts to become public, correct?
I handed my phone over, so I knew all my texts would be seen.
When you were writing the text, when the group was chatting back and forth or texting back and forth, those were intended to be private texts between and among just the people on the text string, correct?
I just was texting my family. I wasn't thinking any more of who was going to see it.
You certainly did not expect...
All right, let's go back to the direct with Mr. Brennan. I think there is another section that I want to watch with you guys, but I'll wait until the break. If we're caught up.
This number's, I won't read it. This number on top, whose number is that?
That is 9.
And the bottom number is who it's going to?
Yes.
So this text message, is this what you wrote
Yes, it is.
to Kerry?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And however, it is correct that text message was from you to Ms. Roberts, number 168?
Yes, it was.
And the response in this text message, number 169, from Ms. Roberts to you, you were also, this is awful, Jen, I'm in shock.
Yes.
Number 170, and this one is from Ms. Roberts to you, 129.22 at 2:05:45. I literally am having wine. I don't know what to do. Calm down.
Yes.
171 at 2:06:35 on 129.22 from you to Ms. Roberts. I know I am definitely in shock.
Oh, I missed the I missed the curtains again. I didn't see it. Wait, I have a question. Do you guys say curtains or curtains? I watch a lot of interior design YouTubers or YouTubers who do like decors and stuff like that. And there's this one YouTuber that I watch, always gets shit on for how she pronounces curtains. She says like curtains, curtains. Hey, Spring, how are you doing today? Hello, hello.
Shock, and it keeps hitting me. I just feel so sick. Is that accurate?
Yes.
I'm going to read one more. 172. And this is from Ms. Roberts to you at 2:13:41 on 129.22. I don't know what to even do. I'm so sorry for both of us. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Number 175. Again to Ms. Roberts, 2:14:15, 129.22. Do you text, I talked to Peggy, I am devastated for them?
Yes.
And did you follow up seconds later at 2:14:56 on 129.22? I am so sick to my stomach.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us.
That day, did you have to speak to your children about what happened?
I did, yes.
Was that part of your state of mind that day?
Yes.
I'll allow that.
Number 208 or 207. You receive a text from this number. I don't want to say it out loud, but if you could read it, 207. Do you know who that's from?
I don't.
Okay, we'll move to the next one then. 208, 129.22, 342.06. I've never felt so sick. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Number 210, 433.40, 129.22. You text messaging somebody?
Yes.
Do you know who that is?
I don't, just off of the number.
Okay. And this text message, is this from you to somebody?
Yes.
My mind is racing. I have that awful feeling in my gut like I'm about...
I'll allow it.
Wait, hold on a second, Angie. Which curtains? You know how they always say the drapes, do the drapes match the curtains or something like that? What are we thinking about here? Or is my mind just being too dirty?
So by this witness, allegedly.
My mind is racing. I have that awful feeling in my gut like I am about to puke. Besides seeing the awful image, trying to wrap my head around what happened to him. Is that accurate?
Yes.
.213. This is on 129.22 at 438.20. Do you know who was texting you?
Yes.
Who?
My friend.
Once things settle, you need to talk to someone and process the trauma. And then 214, you respond, 129.22, 440.38. I've been shaking since this a.m. I feel so sick. Everything started to be a blur and all run into each other.
Yes.
And this is at 440.38 at 129.22.
Yes.
And during that day, you've spoken to law enforcement?
Yes.
And the days that follow?
Yes.
I'm going to move to 129.22, 752. If you look at number 289, please.
Okay.
At 289, is this a text from your sister, Nicole?
Yes.
Any update? Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And you were shown this text at 292,
Yes.
and you texted your sister, Kerry talked to cops, kept it simple?
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
I mean, the cops had gone to her house, but she had had a long day and been drinking some wine, so she said she just made it quick.
And you were sharing that with your sister?
Yes.
And was your sister part of many of these texts as part of your support group?
Yes.
Did anybody tell you that you shouldn't rely on your family and have a conversation about what you would?
Oh my gosh, baby reindeer. I completely forgot about the TV show. She was doing interviews. You guys remember? Wasn't she trying to sue Netflix? Whatever happened to that? Dude, that woman was she did some interviews with Pierce Morgan and like, oh my god, she's scary. You don't pronounce a T in the middle. Curtains. I wonder if it's a regional thing.
Went through?
Objection.
No, no one did.
And during that text time, the one I just read to you was at 7:54:38. She turned to 296. 129:22 at 7:56:50. Did your sister text you, okay, try to get some sleep, talk tomorrow?
Yes.
And did you text back at 7:57? Yes, but don't feel pressure?
Yes.
And the next one, 298 at 7:57:07, was your sister asking you for any updates?
Yes.
And at 7:57:13, did she text you, I love you, don't beat yourself up, you did the best you could?
Yes.
And just a few minutes later, one at number 308, please, 129:22 at 8:01 p.m. Did your sister again
There's definitely a Northeast thing. Curtains.
write to you, okay, text me in the AM if you hear anything later?
Yes.
And you continue texting with her?
Yes.
Hey, love Neek.
You were asked about timeline?
Yes.
You turn to number 761, please.
My problem with Karen is her inconsistency regarding the account of events. It was over 200 pages long and happened quite some time ago, yet she was meant to be a witness to a heinous murder. How could she forget details like that? Wait, I'm so confused. Wait, what? Are you talking about Jan McCabe or Karen Reed, the defendant? And then what are we talking about that's 200 pages long? The grand jury transcripts? You're from East London. You drop my T's all the time. Ah, because the girl that I watched, she's from Chicago. So I don't know. I wonder if that's like a maybe like a regional thing or something like that. I think I say it both ways. Hmm.
$761.
761, please.
What page is that on?
248?
I'm missing page 248.
You don't have a two-page 48?
No, it stops at 212 and picks up at 253.
May I stand with the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Can you remind us who asked you to put together a timeline?
Peggy.
Peggy. Okay.
Yes.
2 days later, January 31st, 2022, and this is at 10:26:29 a.m. Are you texting Ms. Roberts?
I am.
Okay. I have spent the AM trying to process that he is really gone and try to piece together all the events. Is that part of the process of the timeline?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to know. I see my screen name. I don't know. So how I'm learning Twitch. It's okay. I just assumed maybe you just dropped your face on the keyboard or something like that, you know? I said Karen, you meant Jen. Okay, Jen. Okay, I figured maybe you meant Jen. Okay, so your problem with Jen is inconsistency regarding the kind of events. It was quite over 200 pages long and happened quite some time ago, yet she was meant to be a witness to a heinous murder. How could she forget details like that? I think sometimes we tend to think that our memory is better than we think. I used to think I had really good memory. And then whenever we get in arguments with or a disagreement with my husband, I'd be like, you know what? Let's watch the security camera. And I listen back to the security camera. I'm like, oh, fuck, he was right. Damn it. I don't know. I think a lot of us are very overconfident when it comes to memory. And then when you're proven wrong, you're just like, oh, actually, you know what? Let me just humble it down a little bit. That's my experience. Oh, Vermont? Yeah, she's from Chicago, so that could explain.
At some point on the 31st, was something happening around Fairview Road that you learned?
I believe there was police presence.
Was there any presence from the media, the press?
Oh, yes, there was.
Was that causing any concern?
I believe I talked to Peggy, and she was...
Assisting.
And so on January 31st, 2022, we're at number 864. You're receiving information. Do you know who this number is that's calling you?
That's my sister.
Which one?
Nicole.
And she's texting you, news people came by and knocked on the door again. They're all leaving now, Peggy and them left about 15 minutes ago.
Yes.
And then at 1 o'clock, 18 seconds on 1:32:22, you text back, did you answer the door?
Correct.
Was this part of your state of mind on the 31st, what was going on around the house?
Yes.
Just a few more. In trying to recount for people who asked you that morning and over the next couple days, some of what's reflected in those text messages, was that part of your state of mind?
Yes.
Was it in any way affecting the way you were remembering and thinking about what had happened?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Yes.
Your Honor, subject to redactions, I would seek to introduce all of Ms. McCabe's text messages.
So we'll deal with that. Wait. Is there an objection?
There is.
We'll deal with that later.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Ms. McCabe, a couple of follow-up questions. You indicated on redirecting
Oh, Shaniqua. Okay. I couldn't take the YouTube glitch thing. Okay, is it better on Twitch? Are we good now?
examination that there were no sirens that you heard that morning with the approach of the first responders. Is that right?
I don't believe there was.
But they did have their lights on.
I saw a spotlight, yes, and I do believe they had lights on, yes.
Flashing red and blue lights or red lights, some combination thereof, correct?
Correct.
That was cruisers, police cruisers, correct?
Yes.
There were fire SUVs, in other words, a captain of a fire department.
Possibly.
There were fire trucks and fire engines. You know the difference?
No.
Fire engine, big one with a ladder on it.
Yes.
There was an ambulance, correct?
Yes.
And all of them had their emergency lights on.
Most likely, yes.
All of them had their motors running.
I'm not sure if they were all running. They could have been, yes.
Certainly, you would agree that there was a cacophony of diesel engines and gasoline engines and internal combustion engines that were running right outside of 34 Fairview, although no sirens, correct?
I wouldn't exactly say right outside of 34 Fairview. I'd say there were some right outside of 34 Fairview, but the first vehicle pulled up kind of right just on the right end, and most of the vehicles with the lights on were to the left, so they were actually more in front of 32 Fairview. But there were vehicles. There was Miss Roberts' vehicle, and then I believe another vehicle pulled up. I think I remember from seeing the dash cam.
And Sarah's cruiser, correct?
Yes.
And Mulaney's cruiser, just on the other side of Terry Roberts' vehicle, correct?
Yes, I don't believe lights were on. His lights were on.
And there was an ambulance just to the left and behind Sarah's vehicle, correct?
Yes, which would have been in front of 32 Fairview.
Lights on that as well?
Yes.
All facing in the direction of 34 Fairview, correct?
Facing, but out front of 32.
So is there a reason that you're so resistant to admit that there was a cacophony of sound and noise outside of 34 Fairview?
No.
Okay, so there was, correct?
Outside on the front lawn, yes, side lawn.
And there was also some people yelling and screaming at a high pitch, right?
Yes.
Both Miss Reed, who was yelling and screaming, correct?
Correct.
And Miss Roberts, who at least at some point told her to shut the fuck up, correct?
Correct.
Carrie.
You were asked about the stop at 34 Fairview on the way to Sergeant Lang's house on redirect examination by Mr. Brennan just now, correct?
I was, yes.
He showed you a couple of pages of your transcript from that question and answer, correct?
I believe he showed me a page, yes.
And you noted that this was a question and answer from a hearing last year in this courtroom?
Yes.
And you admitted that you stopped, but actually, let me rephrase that. You were confronted with the fact that you stopped at 34 Fairview on the way to Officer Lang's house, Sergeant Lang's house, by me on cross-examination, correct?
Yes, you asked me.
You also indicated that you have never refused to speak to the police, any law enforcement officer in this case, correct?
I've spoken when but asked to, yes.
But in point of fact, when you were approached by the 2 law enforcement agents who were not connected to Massachusetts State Police or to Canton PD, you suspended that interview and refused to answer further questions, correct?
I welcomed them in my house, sat with them, and then I stopped, and then I met with them a few times after, and I answered all their questions that they asked. I helped clear up some misconceptions that they had been told, and as you know, I know they're no longer investigating, so I think I helped them well.
And you're obviously well aware that in that first interview, you stopped the interview cold and refused to answer further questions, correct?
I said I'm going to stop, and I'm going to seek some counsel, yes.
The text messages. You just read a series of text messages that Mr. Brennan actually read for you, and you agreed with, correct?
Correct.
Were any of the text messages that you just read in the group chat that I showed you in cross-examination?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
And that group chat included you, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, and Matt McCabe, correct?
Correct.
And that was a private chat among the 4 of you, is that right?
That's just a chat with them, yes.
You read some text messages to and from Carrie Roberts, correct?
Yes.
You had just met Carrie Roberts, isn't that right?
Yes.
She's not a McCabe, is that right?
Correct.
She's not an Albert, correct?
Correct.
You even read some text messages with your minor children, correct?
Just now?
Yeah.
I don't believe anyone with my children.
Mr. Brennan asked you about a couple of text messages, at least one text message, with your children, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
Objection.
She can answer that question. Is that what happened?
Did I misunderstand?
No, I honestly didn't read anything from my children. I think one, I said a friend, another time I didn't know who it was, but I do know my children's phone numbers, and no, it was
Okay.
none of my kids.
Obviously, the kids are not on that group chat, that private group chat that we went over, correct?
Oh, yes, correct, they're not.
Well, let's talk about those unidentified numbers. You said this is a number I don't recognize, and Mr. Brennan read to you a text to that person, correct?
Yes,
Whoever that is, that person's not a McCabe, correct?
they're not, correct.
And that person's not an Albert.
They could be, again, it could have been Chris Al, but Julie, I don't, one of the numbers I didn't recognize, because I have everybody in my phone with a name, so I don't recognize every number.
And that person certainly was not in that group chat with you, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, and Matt McCabe, correct?
Correct.
And then there was a friend. You said this is a friend, and I don't need you to identify the friend. But whoever this unidentified friend is, that friend is not a McCabe and is not an Albert, correct?
Correct.
And that friend was also not in that group chat that we went over in cross-examination. Is that right?
Correct.
These are all people outside of that group, among whom you engaged in the chat that we saw, correct?
Correct.
And that includes Carrie Roberts. She was not included in that group chat where you talked about the case and talked about what she was and wasn't doing with law enforcement, right?
Correct. It was just my sister, my brother-in-law, and husband.
Yeah, just one, Your Honor.
Okay.
No, that's all I have.
All right. Ms. McCabe, you are all set. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
I'd like to play a couple of clips, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'd ask you to just wait 10 seconds.
I'm sorry.
All right, you can play them now.
May I proceed?
Yeah, honestly, I thought cross-examination last year was a lot more crazier. This year, not so much. There were some moments where it's like, ooh, hold my breath, you know? But yeah, not as explosive as last year.
Proceed?
Yes.
I'd like to play clip 12, please.
All right, what interviews do we have? I would never talk to the police without a lawyer. Depends.
There was a woman.
But yeah, I don't know. If you want it out of caution, probably not a good idea too. But like, I don't know. Sometimes if you feel like you have nothing to lose and then you just want to help out, I can see why people do it. But if you're under investigation or, you know, I don't know. Like, yeah, you probably shouldn't. But then again, who has the money just to hire an attorney sometimes, right?
Who was a mother to kids that were close to John's kids, who lived very close to the Alberts. In fact, when Jen was navigating John to the Alberts when I was driving, she said, it's near Ashley's house. Ashley and John had hooked up prior to John and I dating. There was a woman.
Hold on. Hold on before you play it
We've
again.
already played that one. We don't need to play it again.
Okay.
12A, please.
Ashley, what about Bella's mom?
Two things. Either he's hurt himself and is incapacitated. He could be passed out on someone's couch, which is just weird. We're not on a campus. Everyone lives in their own home with children, or he's sleeping with someone. And there were multiple women in the neighborhood of Fairview that John had been with. And one of them very recently, before I started dating John.
Clip 16, please.
We'll backtrack later.
What's the date of this one? April 13, 2024. Yep, they're building the case that this is a insecure, jealous girlfriend, rage, drinking. Yeah, that's the angle they're doing. I think they were trying to build this angle last year, but it was. Were they doing it last year? Yeah, I think they did do it last year too, but it wasn't as it felt more weak in my opinion. Oh no, a severe thunderstorm warning. No.
We'll backtrack later. Let's start at 34 Fairview. So, who are you with? I'm with Jen McCabe and Carrie Roberts.
Wait, are they doing a debate? Are they debating, or is it like a video where there's like video attack each other? The Hassan and Ethan thing.
We'll backtrack later. Let's start at 34 Fairview. So, who are you with?
Hey, Ashley.
I'm with Jen McCabe and Carrie Roberts. And Carrie Roberts is Ford Explorer. And I'm in the back, leaning over the front two seats. Carrie's driving and Jen's in the passenger seat. And I described this to everyone, so you've probably heard this before, but John looked like a buffalo on the prairie. It was just a lawn and a heat that it wasn't a bush or a hydrant or a dog. It was a weird shaped lump at that time in those elements. And I was looking to find him on the side of the road. I was expecting I'd find him, and the fear of what I was going to see is the worst feeling I've ever experienced. The anticipation of what is awaiting me was as extreme a feeling. I wouldn't say it was as extreme a feeling as the grief of realizing what happened to him.
Why? I don't know why. Why would she say that? That's weird. The prosecution could really pick that piece apart, that statement apart. Looking to find him on the side of the road. You know, I think they could be like, well, why would she be looking to find him on the side of the road if she said that she dropped him off at 34 Fairview? And she did say that she saw him go inside. There are interviews that she did where she said she saw him go inside 34 Fairview. Because I remember in trial number 1, I was confused whether or not she thought that, or if she just thought that she dropped him off. But I remember seeing an interview about that.
And finally, clip 17, please.
It's thundering here too. I wonder how close we are, Spring.
We see the court before this one's played.
All right, hold that, please.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury in the matter
Jen, it's just an extra button that I press when I stream. That's it.
I'm not intending to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God. Yes, I do. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
All right, Mr. Lally, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name for the court?
Certainly. My name is Hannah Knowles. My last name is spelled Knowles.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a forensic scientist at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab.
And prior to working at the lab, where did you go to school?
I have a Bachelor of Science from Simmons University in Boston and a Master's of Science in Forensic Science from the George Washington University.
Oh, GW.
And how long have you worked at the State Police Lab?
Since October of 2006.
And in what capacity do you work there now?
I'm currently a Forensic Scientist 4 in the Toxicology unit.
Now, when you joined the State Police Lab, what was your position and title that you were initially hired for?
Was initially hired as a Chemist 1 in the Drug Identification or Narcotics unit. After about a year in that position, I was promoted to a Chemist 2 position. After about a year, there was a position available in the Toxicology unit, so I applied for that available position, transferred to the Tox unit in about August of 2007. And have been in the Toxicology unit ever since.
And Ms. Knowles, briefly, if you could describe sort of what is the difference between a Chemist 1 and a Chemist 2?
At the time, the job series for folks that worked at the crime lab was the Chemist series. A Chemist 1 was an entry-level or trainee type position where the individual was responsible for progressing through the training program, assisting with casework as they are authorized on different modules. Chemist 2 was a bench-level analyst, someone who had completed training or had a significant amount of authorizations and could work on casework and worked independently from that point forward.
And similarly, what is sort of the difference between a Chemist 2 and a Chemist 3?
The Chemist 3 series that was in place prior to 2014 was a first-level supervisory role.
He may have walked back home, passed out, frozen to death, or got run over by someone else. Just being the devil's advocate here. Yes. If his body was found in a different location, though. Since his body was found where he was reportedly dropped off, I don't think he tried walking home. I don't know. Unless he decided to sit outside for a little bit for some odd reason, maybe. Or got run over by someone else. The other thing that is completely unfounded, but, you know, it's still like a lingering thing in my mind is the fact that, what's his fucking name again? Oh, Mr. Higgins. Higgins has a Jeep with the snowplow thing on. I wonder if he tried to plow the McCabe's street as he was going out. I don't know. I read the other day that 2024 was a record for us for tornadoes, and the Tornado Valley is slowly moving east, and we're about to be a part of it. Really? Tornadoes are scary. Dude, I love watching tornado videos, though. There's so many storm chasers that are live streaming, and it's crazy. It's like they're working like 24 hours just chasing the storms, live streaming and stuff like that. Wild.
It was somebody who...
Oh, you're getting back to Karen Reed. I just don't know why she would think that, though, you know, if it was found at that spot.
oversaw the day-to-day operations and the work of forensic scientists 1 and 2, or chemists 1 and 2.
And what are your current duties and responsibilities at the State Police Lab?
Oh, shit, is that Mr. Lolly? Oh, my God. I didn't even realize. It's Mr. Lolly, y'all. Hey, Mr. Lolly, where you been, sir? What witness number is this? Jim McCabe was witness number 12, I think. I think so. So witness number 13. Hey, it's Mr. Lolly.
In
He's alive.
2014, those chemist classifications that I was describing got changed to forensic scientists. Forensic scientists 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is the series. Currently, I'm a forensic scientist 4, and so my role is overseeing training and validation for the toxicology unit.
Is there a continuing educational component to your work at the lab?
Yes, there is.
And can you describe that for the jury, please?
As part of our accreditation, analysts are required to participate in continuing education at least once per year.
No. Mr. Lawley stepped it up a little bit, okay? We don't hear the what if anything. when he did the direct examination of the last witness, there was absolutely no what if anything coming out of his fucking mouth. Thank goodness.
As they continue to work in their role. Continuing education can consist of participating in workshops or webinars, attending conferences or meetings, or documenting ongoing literature review of new journal articles as they're published.
What is proficiency testing?
Proficiency testing is something that we utilize in the laboratory to assess processes and competencies of an individual, as well as the processes that are in place for a particular unit or department or scope of testing. Proficiency testing is also an accreditation requirement. Individuals are required by our internal processes to participate in proficiency testing at least once per year as sort of an ongoing assessment. And what a proficiency test is materials that are purchased by the laboratory from a third-party vendor. Those materials are analyzed as if they were casework, but there are expected results or known results for those samples. Once the laboratory processes those samples, just like their casework, we submit the results to the...
I do not want to think about his testicle. Oh my God. No, thank you.
External vendor that we purchase the materials from. The results are compared to the expected results, and we have to have our results meet those expected results in order for the proficiency test to be considered successful.
Now, over the course of your years at the lab, have you undergone proficiency testing?
Yes, I have.
And have you passed each of those respective proficiency tests that
Great, thank you. His shriveled up cojones are in my mind now.
you've taken?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Now, is the State Police Lab accredited?
Yes, it is.
And by whom?
The Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab is currently accredited by the American National Standards Institute National Accreditation Board.
And what does that accreditation process consist of?
The accreditation process consists of on-site assessments as well as remote or virtual assessments to evaluate our policies and procedures, our personnel, our management, as well as our facilities to ensure that we are meeting established accreditation standards. The standards that we're currently accredited to is an international standard.
All right, I'm going to forward through this a little bit, get to the meat of it.
To questions of law.
And just again, in sort of general terms, if you could explain.
Generally, alcohols are a family or a group of drugs or...
Oh, she's the alcohol lady. Okay, she's going to talk about Karen Reed's blood alcohol level, I guess. Are they going to do that reverse, what's it called? There was a term for it in trial number 1, like the reverse blood serum thing where they calculate Karen Reed's blood alcohol level at the approximate time when she dropped off John O'Keefe or something.
Chemicals that have a specific functional group or a specific structure. The types of alcohols that are analyzed in the laboratory that I work include methanol, ethanol, and isopropanol.
And what are the differences between those different types?
They all have similar but slightly different structures. Methanol is a solvent. Sometimes it's called wood grain alcohol. Isopropanol is rubbing alcohol or 2-propanol, and that is typically used as a disinfectant. And ethanol is the type of alcohol that we typically are referring to when we talk about alcoholic beverages. It's what's present in those types of liquids.
Now, Ms. Knowles, through your training and experience, are you familiar with a term known as a central nervous system depressant?
Yes, I am.
And can you explain that term to the jury?
No, thank you. We're going to forward through this.
Thinking.
Conversion is and how it is that it's conducted.
Certainly. A serum conversion is a service that the laboratory
That's what it is. Serum conversion.
offers when a serum ethanol concentration has been determined, and it would be helpful or relevant for us to approximate what a corresponding whole blood alcohol concentration would be. When we're talking about blood alcohol concentrations or blood ethanol concentrations and serum ethanol concentrations, serum ethanol concentrations are always higher than a blood alcohol concentration. If you had a blood and a serum sample that were collected from the same person at the same time, you would always expect the serum alcohol to be between 13 and 19% higher than the whole blood. So for that reason, that difference between the two, this service that we offer can assist to approximate what a corresponding whole blood ethanol concentration would be based on testing on a serum ethanol concentration.
And did you have occasion to perform a serum conversion with respect to this defendant?
Yes, I did.
And what materials or documents did you receive in order to
You're working from home until further notice. Oh, that's nice. Do you like working from home?
perform that analysis?
For the serum conversion, I referred to medical records that were provided with a request.
May I approach and retrieve what's been previously marked as Exhibit 37?
Yes.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
I'm showing you a document. Do you recognize that document? May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Turning your attention to a previously tabbed portion of those records. It's the 52nd page of those records. Do you recognize that?
Yay, no power outage.
Yes, the flagged page is consistent with the portion of the medical records that I had reviewed in preparation for doing the serum conversion calculations for this report.
And those medical records pertain to a Ms. Karen Reed from the Good Samaritan Medical Center. Is that correct?
Yes, they do.
Okay. And in those records on that 52nd page, what was reported as the defendant's ethanol level?
The results are recorded as an alcohol result with a value of 93 milligrams per deciliter.
And pursuant to those records, at what time was that sample taken from the defendant at the Good Samaritan Medical Center?
The collection time listed on the medical records is January 29th, 2022 at 9:08 a.m.
Now, that recording and a measurement of milligrams per deciliter, is that typical for how you see ethanol measured by hospital labs?
Yes.
And did you conduct the serum conversion for this defendant's reading consistently with how you do in every case that's assigned to you?
Yes.
Now, please explain to the jury how you're able to convert that serum level reading to a blood alcohol concentration.
So the way that the calculation is performed is kind of in two steps. So the results are listed in milligrams per deciliter, which is common in clinical testing.
Hi, Panda.
And to convert it to the type of units that are typically used for blood alcohol concentrations, we just divide by 1,000 to get that into the right units. So 93 milligrams per deciliter converts to 0.093 grams per cent. And then to perform the serum conversion, or to get this serum ethanol concentration into what we would estimate to be a blood alcohol concentration, we applied two conversion factors, a low and a high conversion factor, to account for the range that we see in the typical population. I'd mentioned earlier that serum is usually between 13 to 19% higher, so we divide that 0.093 by 1.13 and by 1.19 to get a low and a high.
Hey, Southern Mama. I'm late, so rewind a bit. I'm from the South, and just want to say that down here we say curtains. Good to know, good to know.
Blood alcohol concentration for that range.
How are you, Panda?
And those conversion factors that you just mentioned, where do those come from?
The conversion factors come from literature where they've performed experiments similar to how I described. They have individuals that have ingested ethanol. They collect samples from them and test their whole blood and test their serum alcohol concentrations, and then compare them and see what the ratio is between them. The current ratios that are used by the laboratory, the 13 and 19%, those are also consistent with consensus body documents or sort of industry standards that we utilize and base our protocols upon.
Now that 13 and 19%, how long have those conversion factors been in place?
There was a consensus body document published in 2024, and so we adjusted the serum conversion factors that had previously been in use to those new published or those new recommendations in September of 2024.
Now, does the change in conversion factors recently adopted by your lab, does that benefit the patient or the person for whom you're converting the ethanol to blood alcohol concentration? Objection.
I'll allow it. Does it?
Yeah, the previous factors we used between 12 and 18%. And so when you perform that conversion, it typically ends up with a equivalent or lower blood alcohol concentration. And so it could be interpreted as being favorable to a defendant.
Now, why are they presented in a range?
We don't use just one conversion factor because in the studies that we base our procedures on, it demonstrates that the general population does not have one consistent conversion factor or rate.
Oh no, I didn't have her fast forwarded. Sorry, not fast forwarded, but I don't have her sped up. I'm having her sped up now.
Ratio between their whole blood and their serum alcohol concentrations. And so to ensure that the conversion that we're utilizing applies to most of the general population, we use sort of the extremes of what we see in that literature, like a high and a low, to make sure that our approximation falls, that the true value would fall somewhere in between that low and that high value.
And what did you calculate as a low and high range for this defendant's blood alcohol concentration from that alcohol reading from the Good Samaritan Medical Center?
So the 93 milligrams per deciliter serum ethanol concentration.
93 grams per deciliter. I think the other guy said the same number, right?
Concentration would convert to between 0.078 and 0.092% or grams percent.
And again, Ms. Knowles, that's at the time that the blood is drawn at approximately 9:08 a.m. on January 29th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, turning your attention to retrograde extrapolation, can you explain to the jury what a retrograde extrapolation is?
Sure. A retrograde extrapolation is another service that the laboratory offers where it's a calculation that we can perform when we have a alcohol concentration that was measured at a particular time, and it would be helpful or relevant to know what that person's blood alcohol concentration was at some point prior to that sample having been collected. What we're doing with this calculation is taking what we know about how quickly the human body is capable of breaking down alcohol and applying that rate of elimination to the time interval between when the sample was collected and tested and when there might be a particular time of interest, a car accident or some interaction where that person's blood alcohol concentration might be relevant.
And how is that done?
Similar to the range of conversion factors that we were looking at with the serum conversion, we know that the rate of elimination in alcohol in humans varies from person to person. And so based on studies where they're looking at rates of elimination in large groups of people, we know that alcohol can break down at a rate of between 0.010 and 0.025% per hour. And so we take when we're looking at a serum conversion and then being combined with a retrograde, We take the smaller of the serum conversion range, and we add that to the slowest elimination rate multiplied by a time interval. And then we also take the larger of the serum.
Hey, Leela, how are you doing today? How's it going? I know, Angie. Just tell me how drunk she was. I'm impatient.
Conversion values, and then we add that to the fastest elimination rate multiplied by the time interval. We use a smaller time interval for that sort of minimum calculation to account for the fact that we don't want to overshoot that estimate of blood alcohol concentration. If there was some unabsorbed alcohol, we don't necessarily always know when we perform these calculations the drinking history or like when the person had stopped drinking that day. And so we usually subtract 2 hours from the time interval when we're doing that minimum calculation to have a more conservative estimate. So we're applying the time interval, the rates of elimination, and looking at what we have for blood alcohol concentrations, all to be considered when we're performing the calculation.
Now, what categories of information do you need in order to perform a retrograde analysis?
We need to know what the blood alcohol concentration was at the time that the sample was collected. We need to know the time the sample was collected, and we need to know the incident time or the time of interest that we're sort of calculating back to. There's a couple of requirements to be able to perform this calculation that we have to ensure. We have to make sure that there's at least been 2 hours in that time interval between the time of collection and the time of interest that we're looking at. We can't calculate backwards with that very narrow window because we can't be sure that the person is entirely in the elimination phase, that their body has reached a maximum blood alcohol concentration and they're just breaking down alcohol at that point. And we also know that this simple rate of elimination calculation can't be accurately modeled once we get down below between 0.02 and 0.03. So we have to make sure that the starting blood alcohol concentration is at least an 0.03 or higher in order to be able to apply that math.
Now, how is it that alcohol is metabolized within the body?
Generally, after someone stops drinking alcohol, their body reaches a maximum blood alcohol concentration, and then after that maximum is reached, for most folks that's between 30 and 90 minutes after they stop drinking, and then the body breaks the alcohol down over time in a very predictable linear fashion, down until it gets down into about 0.02 and 0.03. The mechanism that the body uses to metabolize, some alcohol is excreted in urine, some alcohol is evaporated and removed from the body through your breath, but the vast majority is broken down with enzymes in your body that convert the ethanol structure into water and carbon dioxide.
What are the phases of metabolism for alcohol in the body?
So alcohol, once it's ingested, moves through the body in a couple of different phases. One, initially, the body is absorbing alcohol. Then the alcohol is distributed throughout the body where it can have its effects. There's the metabolism phase, and then elimination. Most drugs and alcohol all kind of follow that same pattern in these different phases. And so I'd mentioned elimination phase.
Oh wow, they went home early today.
Earlier, that's after you've reached a maximum blood alcohol concentration, and your body is no longer absorbing.
If I was a jury, I'd be like, man, can you guys just do 8-hour days? That way we could hurry up and be done with this trial. All these half days and like early release days.
It's fully distributed in your body, and then you're just breaking it down and your body's removing the alcohol or the ethanol from your system.
Now, in a retrograde analysis, are you calculating for a single number or something else?
So because we don't know an individual's particular rate of elimination, we use a maximum and a minimum, a fast and a slow elimination rate. And so our results for this calculation are always expressed in a range to ensure that that individual's actual blood alcohol concentration lies somewhere between the range that we provide.
And can you please explain sort of that range and the size of it for the jury? The range that's provided as part of these calculations, the size of the range depends on the facts of the case and the amount of time that's passed between the time of the incident and the time of the sample collection. The more time that's elapsed, there's a greater difference between the faster and the slower rates of elimination, the 0.01 per hour and the 0.025 per hour.
Oh, have you guys seen this movie that's out now called Sinners? I think it's another Jordan Peele movie.
And what do those minimum and maximum blood alcohol concentration numbers signify?
Looks spooky.
They signify the smallest and the largest concentration that could be reasonably expected based on the blood alcohol concentration. And
who's Ryan Coogler? You want to see that movie so bad? Yes, me too. It looks so spooky. I just don't want to watch any scary movies, man. We need more scary movies out there. Fuck action movies. Fuck Marvel movies. I'm just kidding. I like Marvel movies, but still. Scary movies, please.
The rates of elimination that are being applied in the calculation.
Now, were you able to perform a retrograde analysis from this defendant's alcohol blood testing from the Good Samaritan?
Yes, I was.
And similarly, did you perform that in conformity with how you performed prior retrograde extrapolation analyses in other cases?
Yes, I did.
And what time was utilized in your analysis as the time of vehicle operation or of incident?
12:45 a.m., January 29th, 2022.
And do you know where that time came from?
I believe it was the time specified in the request from the district attorney's office.
And why is time of operation or time of incident important?
What about scary Marvel movies? I mean, the one with the Scarlet Witch and fucking Doctor Strange, that one was kind of spooky, you know? They can substantiate that she was legally intoxicated at 9 a.m. They're attempting to argue that the methodology employed allows for inference about their state of inebriation at the time of the alleged murder of John.
Because the time interval that we use in the calculation.
Hey, what's up, Bleep? How are you doing today? How's it going?
Depends on the starting and the ending point of that calculation. So the time of incident is important because that's what we're basing the math on.
And what was the resulting minimum and maximum numbers that you calculated for the defendant's blood alcohol concentration from her blood testing reading from the Good Samaritan Medical Center?
That based on the 93 milligrams per deciliter value that was obtained at Good Samaritan, that the blood alcohol concentration for that individual at 12:45 a.m. Could be between 0.14 and 0.28 grams per cent.
And so you calculated the defendant's blood alcohol concentration to be between 0.14 and 0.28 at 12:45 a.m. on January 29th, 2022. Is that correct?
Yes.
May I approach just to retrieve, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. I have no further questions.
All right. Ms. Giannetti?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Really? The hospital's literally half a mile from my house. Have you been to the waterfall yet? And what's the other one again? Waterfall and CF McCarthy's? Yeah, that's the other one.
And at this point, I'm only going to give you about 5 minutes.
Minutes?
I was going to ask the court to cut me off so that
Okay.
nobody's late today.
Thank you.
Why are we ending early today? Does court not end at 5 p.m.? Jesus. All right,
Good
Yannetti.
afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
The Mass State Police Crime Lab you mentioned is an accredited forensic lab, correct?
That's correct.
That means that your lab has met specific internationally recognized standards for both quality and competence, correct?
There are aspects of quality and analyst competence that are addressed in the accreditation standards, yes.
It also means that your lab has demonstrated a commitment to best practices and to ensuring the reliability and accuracy of its forensic work, correct?
Yes.
And there are several requirements in order to become accredited, right?
Yes.
One of the most important requirements is an independent external review of your lab's quality management system, correct?
Yes, that's definitely one important component of the accreditation process.
That independent external review also evaluates your lab's technical systems, correct?
Yes.
And its procedures.
Yes.
And an external review means that experts from outside your lab come into your lab to review your work, right?
Yes, their review includes the procedures and the operating protocols, and there is
There are townie bars if you ain't from that area that make you feel like an alien. I want to do a Boston trip, and I kind of want to go to Canton. I want to check it out.
some element of case file and specific work review.
Within your lab.
Correct.
And they make sure that you're following established and proper protocols, correct?
Yes.
Now, as a forensic scientist 4, is one of your responsibilities to ensure compliance with the lab's administrative policies, quality assurance, and control requirements to make sure that you're complying with accreditation standards?
Yes.
And you take pride in your lab's accreditation status, correct?
Yes, it's an achievement that's obtained by the hard work of a lot of folks at the lab working together.
You make sure, or you do your best to make sure that the lab is in compliance because you don't want to lose that accreditation status, correct?
Correct. It's important to ensure confidence in our results, to maintain the quality and maintain the accreditation.
Okay. In contrast to the accreditation standards for a forensic lab like yours, the standards for a hospital lab may be different, correct?
Correct. Typically, accrediting bodies for clinical chemistry or hospital systems are different accrediting bodies or different standards than forensic standards.
Okay. And a forensic lab exists for a different purpose than a hospital lab, is that right?
Correct. They have different customers and sort of different scope or intention for the use of their results.
Sure. A hospital lab tests and analyzes blood for its use in diagnosing medical illnesses and for medical purposes, correct?
That's consistent with my understanding, yes.
Sure. And it's not for meeting court admissibility standards like your lab, right?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Your lab follows strict procedures that an expert from your lab can have confidence in the lab results when they come to testify in court like you're doing today, correct?
Yes.
As you testify here today, you have no information that the lab at Good Samaritan Hospital is an accredited lab, correct?
Correct.
And in addition, Good Samaritan Hospital is an external party in terms of its relationship to your lab, right?
Yes, and for that reason, the type of calculations that we performed based on medical records from Good Samaritan are outside of the scope of accreditation.
Jen, just as long as you don't bring the internet vernacular into real life with real people, okay? Don't be saying omega laws to your coworkers.
In the crime laboratory system.
Right. It has no relationship to your crime lab, the Good Samaritan lab, right?
Correct. The same policies and procedures are applied when our laboratory analyzes serum, or if we needed to do a retrograde extrapolation on testing that was performed internally that's covered by the scope of accreditation. But as you're mentioning, the testing was not performed in my laboratory. I don't have any direct knowledge or understanding of their QC procedures, of their accreditation requirements, or their testing procedures at all.
You anticipated my next question. So basically, you cannot personally vouch for the ethanol testing that was performed at Good Samaritan, correct?
That's accurate. The reliability of the results that my calculations were based on, my calculations are only as good as the numbers that I was provided. And like I said, the same math that I did here, I would do to my own internal standard or my own internal testing, anything that I performed testing on in the lab myself. But the results that I started from, I don't have any direct knowledge on their accuracy or reliability.
All right, Ms. Yannetti, we can...
Thank God Twitch chat disappears after like 5 seconds, okay? We can't be leaving this on my screen here, okay? This is a distractor.
bring Ms. Knowles back on Monday if you want. I don't want to cut you short. That was the time frame we were looking
And
at.
I'm perfectly fine with that, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, all right. And Mr. Lally, you're done? Okay. Ms. Knowles, thank you very much. You're all set. You can step down, Ms. Giannetti. I think everybody appreciates it. So- All right, jurors, that's it for us for this week. I'll have to give you those cautions in a minute. I can tell you that it looks like next week we're full days every day. We don't.
Judge, what's your definition of full days? Are we ending at like 3:30, or is full days going to be like till 5 o'clock? Like, what's the definition here? Because your definition of full days has been like, all right, y'all, we're ending at 3:30 today. Oh, let's end at 4 today.
Expect as long a gap in between as we've had to do. So I think everybody should work really hard to make sure that doesn't happen. The cautions: please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. Please be very careful with your social media use, and we'll see you on Monday. Have a good week.
It's not hoarding books. It's a home library. It's like I have books everywhere. They're just laying everywhere. It's not even organized on a shelf or anything. Like, for example, you look at my background. I have like 3 books I just randomly stuck over there. There's some books that I'm using as like coasters. Or like my makeup mirror if it's too low, you know, I would like stack some books together. I have books downstairs on my little coffee table that I use to paint my nails on. And then I have some books by my bedside, which I'm trying to read them before I go to sleep last night, but you know, things don't happen that way. Things don't happen that way. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. I mean, honestly, if you guys have time, go watch the cross-examination of Jen McCabe from the beginning. I do think that day 3 of the cross-examination was better than 1 and 2, in my opinion. Although, like I mentioned before, there were some text messages that I think the defense could have gone really hard on, but they chose not to. So, they did last year. This year, they're a little bit more chill about it. I just don't know if this wasn't the appropriate witness to go hard on with some of the text messages. Maybe they're waiting for that other guy to testify, aka Jen McCabe's husband. So, yeah. They talked about the honestly, I think the highlight of the cross-examination would have to be, again, the Google searches, the how long to die in the snow. You could definitely tell that Jen McCabe was being very defensive when that part was coming up, and she was giving more to her answers, you know, more clarification, stuff like that. But, you know, the jury has already heard from the Cellbrite guy, and I think the Cellbrite guy did a really good job at, you know, explaining why that search was like a weird anomaly that was popping up in Cellbrite, and how he told Cellbrite about it, and the research of Cellbrite, they fixed it, and moving forward, they don't consider, moving forward, they have changed like the process of how they do like the search history, the timestamps or something like that. I don't know. Because I think before it was shown as, there was 2 issues with it. It was the timestamp that it was being presented at, and then the other one was showing it in a deleted state. So I don't know, man. That's kind of weird to me, because now I'm thinking like, okay, well, how many other cases could that have fucked up in other trials? You know, this issue with the Cellbrite thing and the timestamp and the history sounds like a major yikes to me. Major yikes. I have fashion books on my coffee tables. No one's allowed to touch, let alone read. Is it like the Vogue one, or like, what's the one that everyone always has now? They have like the Chanel, the Dior, like the fashion books that they just like collect, and like I feel like everyone has it. Yes, I have like so far the ones that I really like having out for display are my creepy Junjo Ito manga books. Some of them you guys got for me in the Twitch chat. I know Bleep, I think, got me like 2 of them. Those are my favorite to display out, because I think those are just an epitome of like me, you know, creepy, dark, weird. So like in my living room, when people come visit, they're probably like, dude, this place is like kind of like creepy, because I mix a bunch of like normal decorations with like creepy shit. Like, for example, my brother was in New Orleans, and he went into a like a voodoo shop of some sort or something, and he got me this like creepy blueberry pie with a face on it, but it's like so fucking weird and creepy, but I put it on display. My friends don't like creepy shit, so when they come over, they're gonna be like, what the fuck is that? Why do you have that? You have wildlife field guides? Oh, on your coffee table. That's cool. There's this new book that I got that I want to read. It explains the history of like subway trains and why trains are built the way they are now today. And yeah, I don't know. I really want to get into reading it, but I just finished reading. Have you guys ever heard of this book called The Song of Achilles? Dude, I finished that book, and then I didn't realize the author made another book called Circe, and I just finished that one. Oh, so good. Oh, so good. If you guys like Greek gods, Roman gods, and stuff like that, if you have a little bit of interest, those 2 books I highly recommend. They're pretty good. You have Cersei? I was thinking of buying it because I like the book so much. Ah! And then I read Pachinko. Oh my god, so good. I was thinking of buying that book as well. Like all the books that I read that I really, really like, I just want to buy and just have a physical copy of it. Yeah, Cersei was good. I really liked it. Anyways, guys. So, what was I talking about again? Yeah, we're talking about the cross-examination, Jen McCabe. And then they played 2 clips, actually no, 3 clips. And the angle that they're really taking is that the state is trying to say that Karen Reed may have ran John over because of issues of, you know, her being jealous of John and like prior girlfriends or something like that. Something about Ashley's mom, something about Bella's mom. And the clip that was played was one was something about being near Ashley's house and how she mentioned Ashley and John hooked up prior to her and John dating. Another clip was about how John could have been passed on someone's couch, but it's not like we're in dorms or anything like that. We're all adults. We all have our own houses. She said that maybe he was sleeping with someone, that there were multiple women in Fairview that John had been with, and one recently before her and John dated. And then the third clip was when they were riding back. Oh, when they were riding around looking for John as Carrie was driving with Jen McCabe in the front seat. She said she was leaning back and then that she saw John out in the snow. She said John looked like a buffalo in the prairie. It was like a lawn and a heap and a weird shaped lump at the time in those elements. And she was looking to find him on the side of the road, which I thought was kind of I think the state could really dig into that statement, looking to find him on the side of the road. I thought that'd be a weird statement. If you drop someone off at a house and then you said you saw them going inside the house, I guess why would you be looking to see if he's on the side of the road and not expect him to be at 34 Fairview in the house, right? Anyways, but anyways, guys, it's nice to hang out with you guys today. Short day, I guess. Yesterday I was gonna do the Serum sidebars, but I didn't because I had a late start to the day and I didn't want to start the stream too late because I knew the stream was probably gonna be about like 3 hours long. So I'm still trying to figure out where we are gonna fit in the Serum sidebars into our schedule. It's possible we could do it on a weekend. Like I said, I'm not going to really be covering the Karen Reed trial from beginning to end because it's just a lot and I'm too tired for that shit. And we did trial number 1, I think, like from the beginning to the end. We'll be hopping around with the Karen Reed stuff, but I definitely have some updates that I want to share with you guys with the Koberger case and then also Donald Adelson, some updates. Donna Adelson tried to get her judge. The judge is overseeing the case, Judge Stephen Everett. She tried to disqualify the judge. There was a motion the defense put in to disqualify the judge. And then the judge replied back saying, motion denied. Anyways, Corey, you need to play Expedition 33. Is it a horror game? What is it? I love me horror games. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really streamed on Twitch and played video games because there's just no horror games that I've just been wanting to play. This looks like a fucking Dark Souls games. What is this? I don't know. I don't know about this game.
You should never have come.
What is this? Lead the members of Expedition 33 in their quest to destroy the paintress so they should never paint to death. Wait, what? Why is the preview not working? I don't know. Me being judgmental here. It looks okay. Let me see if I can show you guys my screen. Can y'all see it? Lead the members of Expedition 33 in their quest to destroy the paintress so she can never paint death again. Explore a world of wonders inspired by Belle Epoque France and battle unique enemies in its turn. No, and it's turn-based? And it's a story-rich game? You know I don't like games like this. You gave me too much credit. Horror and thriller are the types of books I read. I actually don't read horror or thriller books, which is weird because I usually like that type of theme, but yeah. Okay, Spring Thunder. It appears that the prosecution is attempting to frame the narrative suggested that Jen was in an agitated state. Oh, you mean Karen? You're getting Jen and Karen mixed up, but it's okay. That Karen was in an agitated state. Following a night of heavy drinking, the couple had an altercation, which culminated in her allegedly running him over while under the influence. Yeah, that's basically what they're trying to push right now in trial number 2. Now, I can't wait for them to get to their version of the ARCA experts because they have their own crash reconstructionist people, I guess, and it better be someone better than Trooper Paul, okay? They better not let Trooper Paul come near the damn stand. The combat's not typical turn-based. I don't know. I want like a short horror game, like a really short horror creepy game, 10 hours, 9 hours, or psychological thriller. Like, remember that game 12 Minutes with William Dafoe? Oh my fucking God, I love that damn game. Need more games like that. All right, guys. All three, no creepy-ish for me. All right, y'all. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for chilling, hanging on the chat. I appreciate conversing with you guys about this case, about this trial. You know, there's a lot of different opinions on this, and I appreciate listening to them because, you know, we all have different perspectives and what we think about each of the witnesses or how, you know, things could come across to the jury. So it's nice to hear your guys' opinion, what you guys think. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. Keep an eye out for the Serum sidebars, and, you know, hopefully we'll get to do them sometime soon. I would like to do them soon. We've already started it, like, I think last week. So keep an eye on it. If I have time this weekend, I might possibly start doing it, but I think we might be doing some yard work, and I don't know. I think I have a vegetable garden that I started growing, and I kind of just neglected it. Dude, the moments the aphids took over and like destroyed my kale, I kind of got, I kind of just gave up on the rest of the vegetable garden. Now my my Swiss chard is like growing all crazy and shit. I just like left it there. I don't know. You know, need to go play around with it. Am I about to get turned? It's Friday. No. No. My life is very boring. I'm probably just gonna I don't know. I usually just take my dog out, you know. We'll probably just take him out somewhere, go outside. He's somewhere back there. There he is. Shiro. Probably just take him out somewhere. Maybe stop by the mall or something. Do some yard work, pickleball. I don't know. Boring life. No getting turned or anything like that. And then probably just more catching up with all the court documents that are coming out. So that's about it. Appreciate you guys being here. I hope y'all have a good one. Take care, and I will. Oh, there's Shiro. Shiro, ding, 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 ding. Shiro's so cute. You're gonna take a quick nap and probably No Life Expedition 33. All right, let me know how it ends. Have fun. Oh, Shiro's gone now. All right, guys, take care. Have fun. Go outside, get a breath of fresh air. You know. And I'll see you guys maybe next Monday.